Well, that was a nice prompt for us to, yeah, I noticed we all got very quiet when recording in progress. I guess we all thought our political careers would be ruined if the hot mics got us. But thank you, everybody, for coming. And I'll call this meeting to order. And thank you, Philip, again, for getting these packets together. It's good to see y'all. Happy New Year. We've only got one item on our agenda, and I'm assuming we will get through it briefly. So again, thank you more for coming here just for this one small item. And it is about the Frederick Deming School. And we do have Anna Catherine from the Preservation Society and cohorts to describe. Do you just want to say, the submission process and what prompted the Preservation Society?
Good afternoon. I'm Anna Catherine Alexander with the Preservation Society of Charleston, here with Laurel Fay and Madison Lee. And all of us have been working with the Maryville community, Diane Hamilton as a representative specifically, to draft or to pull together the research materials to submit to the South Carolina Department of Archives and History to inform a draft historic marker text for the Frederick Deming Industrial School. This is a site that's really important to the history of the community, as many of you likely know, because I know that you've worked on interpretive material for the Maryville community in the past. But this is a project that we were pleased to sponsor through the Gullah Geechee Heritage Preservation Project. If you're familiar with that, it's a partnership and a multi-jurisdictional effort through the City of Charleston, Preservation Society, Charleston County, Mount Pleasant, where we're all coming around various settlement communities throughout the area to build capacity and help elevate communities' needs and empower them to tell their own stories through various initiatives. And so this is one of them. Historic markers are a great way for communities to be able to tell their stories. And this was the desire of the Maryville community to amplify this particular history. So in the packet is a lot of research that our team pulled together with the assistance of Ms. Hamilton, who may be on the line, who might be able to answer some questions as well. But the text that has been drafted by Dr. Edwin Breeden at the South Carolina Department of Archives and History, and we are more than happy to answer any questions about any of the information in the text or just how we arrived at some of the history included.
Thank you, Anna Catherine. And before I open it up to anything, I just want to say parenthetically, thank you, the Preservation Society, for doing that, because as everyone on this commission remembers, we've been going through approving signs for Maryville, and the Deming School is often mentioned, and without really going into what it was. So it's great that, should people wander. Do you know, I guess I've not looked at the map, how far away is it from the park where the majority of the signage is? Yeah, I don't have to, yeah, and again, sorry to put you on the spot, it just occurred to me. And it's just idle curiosity. Okay, thank you. So, if we want to proceed, as we've done in the past, if we want to take time to read side one and see if anybody has any issues with side one, I'll just wait for everyone to look up after they finished reading and take it from there. David?
I'm just curious, when it says it was later annexed into the city of Charleston, why there wasn't a particular date as opposed to later, as saying like and annexed into the city of Charleston in, whatever date it was specifically rather than later? Any reason? Well, you got extra spacing available in that path. So You know, when it was, when
Um,
was it? When
If
was
we
it
had all the
annexed?
Maryville thing, it actually wasn't annexed, I think, actually literally into the 1970s. So
Yeah,
I think
thought
you,
it was very late. Yeah.
right, because again, as we well know, it lost its charter, then it was just
Exactly.
part of the county, and then was
Yeah.
annexed into the city, I think in 67 or 71 or something like that. I think you would have the right number of digits. You can say and space IN space 1971. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and now you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's annexed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it looks like it would take 7 characters.
No, I don't think so. It just gives it truthful.
I mean,
I mean, I don't care. I was just
right.
curious as to why it wasn't.
You
And-
know, if I could just add, because there wasn't a specific reason that was our agenda, but there could have been, we can ask Dr. Breeden if it would be helpful. But in the research that Diane Hamilton provided in her book about Maryville, she indicated that Maryville was officially annexed into the city in 1993 and 1994. So I don't know if it was like a process by which parts of the community were annexed into the city, and it would be complicated to say that in this text. We could say in the 1990s. If it's important to this commission, we can certainly speak with Dr. Breeden about including that.
I mean, I'm fine without it. I
Okay,
just was
right.
curious as to why
And,
it wasn't.
and I will just repeat what I said earlier too. A quarter of a mile away is information available, a lot of information about Maryville, its history, when it started, when it lost its charter, when it was incorporated back into, and the difference between Maryville and Ashleyville. And I'm assuming that's why it was 2 different time periods on either side of the highway. Peg?
When I was taught early, after a name before you put junior, they used to put a comma. Is it common now to take it out?
It is, I will say, having just gotten a copy edited manuscript last week from the University of Georgia Press, whatever is the 17th, whatever edition of Chicago Manual of Style, there is no comma.
Thank you.
Yeah. It no doubt will change in the future, but as of now, there is no comma.
And I just have one little tiny thing, and I don't know whether we've done this before or what the common approach is, but I was always taught that city of Charleston city is small c. Is that not the case?
So I can answer this one actually, if you don't mind. When we say city in all of our communications for city, even if it's just not city of Charleston, but just the city, we capitalize the C.
Okay. Usually when you put of Charleston, you reduce the
Right,
the
right.
C is small c. I don't know what we've done on all the other markers.
I'm not sure I'm sure, but again, I will just repeat, so that is the current vogue, and no doubt it will change. But no, so if it is, and we have asked, I've asked kind of I have thrown out the question, I guess is there a standard, for this, do we adhere to a particular manual of style or something like that? And I think it actually went up to the city attorney, and they thought, oh, that would be a good idea. So. And we did town, when we were doing Maryville, I think every time town was used, it was capitalized. I remember there was a lot of back and forth on that, and town of Maryville was capitalized with the T every time. Hopefully every time, if we caught it. But is there any other discussion for side one? Failing to hear more discussion, if people want to, if someone want to make a motion that we accept side one as submitted? Is there a second? Okay. And I guess I should have asked for the motion first and then asked if there was discussion. Any further discussion? Then I'll call the question. Everyone in favor, please say aye or raise their hand or both. Aye, aye. Any nays or abstentions? We're off to a roaring start. We got side one done. And again, I'll give y'all time to read side two. I guess like vicarage or parsonage. Right. I will say, according to what the copy edited version I got, we were always told, I think initially, that if it's below 10, you spell it out, and if it's over 10, 10 or above, you put the numeral, right? I think we have space for it. Oh, but we will not maybe have space if you do one story on line 6. Let's see if we can play with it so we can get, right. Putting 2 in instead of 2. Yeah, yeah, I see that. Right. Right, and the issue, I think, Philip, is going to be on line 6 if, if being consistent, if we put ONE instead of the numeral 1. Right, right. Right. On line 4. We're assuming that was the 2-story building. Yeah, and if they're saying both, then I would assume that would mean that they're 2. It's like parsonage and vicarage. Yeah. Right. Right. Could, and again, I guess it might be, I don't know if we can see for spaces, we might do it. We might be able to have our cake and eat it too on line 6, and we're replaced by a 1-story wood building. Well, I mean, but it does give us information that it's wood. And again, I'll ask the Preservation Society, but if we wanted to keep the information that it was wood, possibly by, if we put in ONE, that would be 2 extra characters, and we would lose the 2 extra characters on wooden, so we could have our cake and eat it too, if you think that's correct. Replaced by a 1-story wood building. Is the preservation? Right. Do we have a picture of the original building? See if, I don't know if it was brick or not. Right. We know it was wood, so wood is kind of redundant anyway. Right, right, right. So, okay, yeah. So, but everything else seems to be fine. I will say that, if we go to the numeral to the spelling out of the word, does that throw 1 through 8? You know, on line 11? Right. So it's, again, and again, people can make a motion at any time if they feel strongly about accepting it as it is, replacing some of the numerals with words or not, but just pointing it out that it would be, and again, 2 miles west, you know, if we change the numeral to a word in those places, we would probably do it. So, right. So that, if someone wants to make a motion along those lines. Right, right. Okay, so we have, and add the comma in line 4. Okay, so do we have a second for that? Okay. Oh, did you have a question, David? Sorry. Oh, like West Elm Street or W Elm Street or East Ashley, like on, yeah, yeah, yeah. So next, I think I've got the 15th edition of the Chicago Manual of Style, hard copy. Next time I will bring it. It'll be my Bible. So, right, no, and again, it's been superseded by the next one, but I've not got, right, yeah. So Phil, do you know, does the city of, I think the question was larger, does the city of Charleston itself have a style manual? You say you capitalize C in city.
We don't have a particular style manual so far as I know, so we wouldn't like go in, but general practice that we use when writing our minutes is that city by itself, is always capitalized. City of Charleston, always capitalized, obviously not of,
Right.
but but we don't have any other.
No other thing about June, punctuation or anything.
Correct.
So we're on our own, guys. Anna Catherine. Right, your right. Well, good point about SE and SW. Okay. So, okay, ready to call, ready to call the vote? All in favor, say aye. Oh, wait, Dale's got a question? Okay. Dale and I had the same English teacher, so I would say Miss Wilson would be proud of you. Right. Yeah. So, okay, so just to recap, the motion in front of us is to leave side 2 as is, but with a comma on line 4, and also changing 2024 to 2025 on both sides of the plaque. And, okay, now ready to call the question. Everyone in favor, please say aye, raise their hand. No one against or abstentions. We have done it. This might be a record. Yeah,
This is a record, at least as far as I have been
yeah.
running this.
Thanks to the professionalism of the Preservation Society. Yep. And I do think there is, we will probably meet in a month, Philip. It looks like someone submitted a marker for
Yes.
Burns Down.
Just some housekeeping announcements. We do have the Burns Downs, is it the Neighborhood Association? Or some folks over there working with our wonderful Donna Jacobs, among others, who is from Burns Downs, and they'll be bringing a marker for, I forget exactly what it was for, but they'll have a marker coming to us. They're working with Dr. Breeden currently, and so we should have, as long as we can get a quorum for next month, that would be March 5th. We'll be good to do that.
Okay. Well, again, thank you all for coming. It's a pleasure to see you.